Okay, hello y'all. If you've seen the little documentary I uploaded about Uganda and the impact of Western civilization, I'm gonna go a little bit more on it on here. And that's it. Y'all probably know this stuff anyway, but just for context for the other video, I was hoping to have it done before it got published. I had it set to be published at that time. I thought, well, I'll be up and do this, and you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I didn't get up in time. Anyway, here we go. About globalization. 40 years of data suggests 3 myths about globalization. Three beliefs about globalization have propagated since the early 80s. First, that globalization leads to a reduction in global inequality. Second, that high income growth among the richest will lift the incomes of the poorest. Third, that there is no alternative to rising inequality without turning our backs on trade and technology. And that recently released report, the first research study to comprehensively examine wealth and income inequality trends across rich and emerging countries over approximately 40 years, dispels these notions. And who put out these notions? Y'all know who did. They did, of course. It's led to the rise in global income inequality, not reduction. Y'all know this. Inequality between individuals across the world is a result of two competing forces: inequality between countries, corporations, and inequality within them. For example, strong growth in China and India contributed to significant global income growth and therefore decreased inequality between countries, corporations. However, inequality within them rose sharply. The top 1% income share rose from 7% to 22% in India and 6 to 14% in China between 1980 and 2016. It says, until recently, it was impossible to know which of these two forces dominate globally because of lack of data and inequality trends within them. Many governments do not release publicly. Of course. Why would they? It would show. It is even worse than what they show here in this report. It says between 1980 and 2016, inequality between the world's citizens increased. Despite strong growth in emerging markets, well, who's getting, who's benefiting most from this? The richer, the ones that are already rich, right? Okay. It grew there. It said from 16% to 20% by 2016. Meanwhile, the income share of the poorest 50% hovered around 9%. The top 1% individuals earning more than $13,500 a month globally captured twice as much income growth as the bottom 50% of the world population over this period. And income doesn't trickle down. Reaganomics. Sorry. Anyway. Doesn't work. Yeah, it says here, yeah. For example, the idea that high income growth for rich individuals is a precondition to create jobs and growth at the bottom continues to be used to justify tax reductions for the richest, as seen in recent tax reform in the U.S. and France. A closer look at the data demands we rethink the rationale and legitimacy of such policies. See, there you go. The policies, not trade or technology, is most responsible for inequality, yes. You don't even need a study to see all of this shit there. So I'm not gonna read no more there because y'all, it's in your face. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, it says re-examining these pervasive beliefs around globalization and its impacts on global inequality is more important now than ever. But like I said, you don't need this data to know this shit. It's by design, of course. They've designed this system to do this. So, anyway, to keep us where they want us, more or less. So, anyway, and then here is another one. I don't know about this here, but I'm looking at it's on down here, the dark side of globalization here. It's pretty much says the same as the other, but in different wordings there, and they got a lot of links there, and they're pushing the carbon thing too in this too. So anyway, like I said, read between the lines. There's good stuff in here. And then here we have this Uganda. Like I said, I've uploaded the documentary thing. This was really said a lot there about the situation there, and how the Western politics what it has done to their society. It says here at the end, I mean, like I said, you read it and everything. I'm not up for patriotism and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's the tribal. They take advantage of the tribalism of us all. That's the thing. That they're wanting to help each other, and that's what he's talking about in here. That their corrupt politics and stuff is killing their society, their way of life. They can't make a living. Here he says ours is a deeply ethnically fractured society run on a broken political system in an environment of social injustice and economic inequality. The ruler's response is to double down with nepotism and blatant political corruption. Sound familiar? Anyway, like I said there, this is by design here as well. Y'all know this though. But it's from this person's perspective, what's going on there, and see how they create these wars. See, intraceable civil wars in Syria and Yemen, terror groups holding firm in Iraq and Afghanistan, and renewed religious antagonism in India and Pakistan. This is all by their design, these wars. Because see here, he says intraceable civil war. They're not civil wars. Anyways, and here's a search I done there on Uganda. I'm sorry, globalization. There's some interesting links there. You want to check them out there. Sorry about that. And this was on the link to the Uganda video there. Chinese enterprises encouraged to invest in Uganda. Here was a search for the China-Uganda Liao Shen Industrial Park in Kapeka. There you go, there, if you want to check that out there. And here's, Uganda's coffees being marketed in Russia. The globalization. Anyway. And here's Uganda. There's where that article came from. And there's some more stuff there if you want to look at. There, excuse me. And here, that was in that link as well for that video. The effects of Western civilization and culture on Africa. And also here we have, the influx of refugees there from the Congo and South Sudan. Again, wars by design, meant to push these people out of that area because they want that land. Like going in South Africa with the farmers there. The corporations is wanting this land, from these farmers. Anyway, there, if you watch this video, it talks about when the refugees first started coming in, I think in the 80s, I think it said, not 80s, but it says in here anyway, I'm sorry, it's been a few little bits since I watched it, but they would give them land so they could, provide food for themselves, be more self-reliant. And now it's, they're being hard pressed for land there amid all the refugees coming in because of these wars by design. There, so it says there's more than 1.4 million and growing there. They're having to rethink their decades-old policy of giving them land to farm on and live on. That really sucks because, you know, they'll have to be more dependent on the system there. You know, they can't do it for themselves. But like I said, that's by design there, you know. And then here you have this story. This is from the 29th of March, whereas this is from today. I think it's today. Yes, today. This is from the 29th, saying stories of hope, telling them, oh, everything will be okay when you come here. That's what this story's doing. Sorry about that. I see my dirty ashtray there. So, this thing will not stay. I don't know what its problem is. Anyway, okay, and then we have this. This is really interesting here. What's going on here with the cattle? Where, you know, in the 80s, the herdsmen took up arms. They became military. They stopped farming, not farming, but being the cattlemen, and that left it open for others to come and do it. And the local breed of cattle is endangered because of these longhorns that the government has brought in for them to use. Anyway, the government here, dictator, trying to be the good guy here, you know. Anyway, but this is really interesting here if you want to check this out as well. There. And here's a search for the Congo. The wars will never stop. Of course. That's the way they want it. Perpetual war. In South Sudan. Now they're fighting death in crowded refugee camps. These people that flee in the war there. And then here we have History and Civilization's Impact on Sustainable Development in Africa. You know, like I say a lot, you know, the Sustainable Development, the UN Agenda 2030. It's called something different here. It's 2050. Agenda 2050. And there's Agenda 2020. There's so many of these agendas, you know. Just check them out there. Anyway, I just wanted to pass this along there, you know. Just take whatever you want from it there. Globalization bad. Y'all know that. It only makes them richer and us even poorer. Anyway, take care, y'all. Have a great rest of the day. I love you. See ya.